Welcome, everybody, to That's Good Stuff, our weekly show. Well, not weekly, our show where we take deep dives into pop culture's newest releases. Last time, we talked about the first half of the fall of the House of Usher. So this time, we are going to conclude that talk with the next four episodes 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if you haven't seen those yet, go watch the other video and then come back. And then yell at us.
Guys, I totally forgot the pit and the pendulum.
What about it? You forgot?
Because you asked our favorite, or Thomas asked our favorite.
I was just like, did you forget what happened? Because it's like it's
kind of. It's like you forgot.
Kind of obvious.
That episode.
as Neil Gaiman would say, clues in the name there. So
okay, so let's start with episode 5. It's called The Tall Tale Heart, and this one was it was about the daughter who's a doctor, and she's making this thing you put it on a heart. Is it supposed to like make you come back to life or something? I don't know.
No, it's supposed to continuously pump your heart so you have no trouble.
So you what?
It helps you pump.
Yeah, if it's people who are having blood flow issues, it's supposed to pump the heart.
Okay.
It's a better pacemaker.
As we've learned throughout the show already, these kids are all dying left and right. So now it's her time.
Dropping like flies.
We get her story, kind of. I mean, it happens pretty fast, right?
Yeah.
She has an argument with is it her wife? I don't know. Girlfriend, yeah. I'm not sure.
It's her...
Some significant other.
Significant other, yeah.
Okay, significant other, we will say. And then they're arguing because she's crooked. She's doing unethical things. And they get an argument.
He's just hurrying along the process. I don't know what's so wrong about that.
She's tired of beating on monkeys. She wants to...
And so they fight, and she's like, I'm leaving you. You're a monster. Everyone was right. You ushers are monsters. And she like screams, and throws a thing at her.
It's a thing. We don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
It's a block of white. I don't know what that was.
A block of white.
It's like marzipan or something.
And we don't see what happens right away. The show goes on. This episode had a lot of like women power. It's like women are the best, man.
Are you sure? Because they seem pretty awful in this.
Well, yeah, what they say and what they do is like different. I was told this episode was the good one, but I didn't.
I thought it was better. I'm not gonna lie.
Did?
Yeah.
I didn't care for it, but what did you guys think?
I liked Bruce in this one. Bruce Greenwood. He felt like he was like, okay, I am bad. I'm going to try to make it better with the few children I have left. So he goes over. He's going to like try. He's like, I'm going to go over and be like, sorry, it's rough. And then she went crazy. And he's like, well, this is why I don't do this.
This is why I don't try. Because you people are nuts.
I will say after like the 4th episode, Bruce Greenwood's like character and like even his acting is a lot better, I think, in the
he's just more
last
involved,
half.
I feel like.
I think that's what it is, because honestly my favorite parts are him and him talking.
He has a good voice.
He does have a good voice.
Indeed.
That's why he was Batman.
That's true. I like this episode. Kind of a cool twist on the original story, which is like my favorite. But it's also the telltale heart, not tall tale.
Oh yeah, the telltale heart. Yeah, that's what I said.
I'm wrong. I
didn't care for it. Like, didn't even play out the heart part till like the very end. Oh, you hear that? Okay. Yeah, keep going.
It was like the Squeaky Boots version.
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
I thought that's what you're referencing, and then I was like, you can't be actually referencing that to this. But
why not? Why not?
Because
there was a squeak.
But it was annoying. Boots, you knew what it was. Like with this, it was like, what is that?
So
actually?
I'm not gonna lie, that's what I thought of too.
Crazy.
But I did enjoy it. I'm not gonna say it was amazing, but I enjoyed this one.
We didn't even get that much time with this character. She wasn't. In
This one seemed rushed. This episode seemed rushed, but
after you guys were like, "This isn't very serious of a show," I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna toss it out. I'm gonna toss out all my like hope and dreams for it." And then I liked it.
Honestly, that was my approach too. Because like after a while, I'm like, this isn't very like horror based. It's more gothic-y, which I enjoy.
It's just like
it's like
it's like campy though, and I don't mind that.
It's kind of like that. What was that movie called with the ghosts? Is it Haunting of Hill? No, Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting of Hill House. Yeah, with
like in the 90s.
Oh no, that
Liam
was
Neeson.
The Haunting. The Haunting
with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, and Catherine Zeta-Jones and
Owen
Wilson.
It's kind of like goofy like that.
Yeah,
the way that movie's
just better acting, honestly. So,
I feel like it's what I said. It's like a classier, like American Horror Story.
Yeah. Just has like it has the structure that you're going to see every single time, every single episode.
Yeah.
And then, but I did like the slight twist, because I feel like none of the episodes of any of the deaths of the children had like a style or a theme or really any sort of like not originality, uniqueness to them. They all kind of felt the same. Like, oh, we have these steps. The person freaks out, they die. But this one actually had that difference where like you see the freak out, then you have that like you said, the squeaking boots of the whole episode where you're like, what is that noise? Where is it coming from? And finally it kind of wraps around back down that kind of classic. Oh, take off where we skip from the beginning and you find out what happens.
Were all the children killed in reverse order?
I think they were killed in like from youngest to oldest.
Yeah.
Apart from the granddaughter.
But we'll get to that. But
spoilers, dang it.
It's the fall of the House of Usher.
The whole house is done.
The only part I liked about this episode was when the daughter and the guy and her husband, you know how they're doing that fitness thing?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like mad at him because she keeps seeing him with the Raven lady. And he's like, and she's like, the guard saw you at the park with her. And he was like, yeah, that was you psycho. I laughed at that. And that foreshadowed my favorite episode, which was episode 6, Goldbug. And it's my favorite episode because a hero emerged. And that hero, I don't know her name. She's Bruce Greenwood's new wife.
Oh, Luna?
Oh. Yeah, well.
Or Juno.
And we'll get to the part where the best part, but it's at the end of the episode.
How does that make her a hero?
She's the one person I liked. Okay, so this episode is all about the daughter, the oldest daughter. And like I said, she wants to do this fitness app. Seems really stupid. All these people's plans are pretty stupid. Like making a nightclub.
Especially hers, because it's like, oh, this is the new fitness. This will end it all.
New monthly.
I'm
box.
sorry, but
it's just like a better Fitbit.
Yeah.
It's like once you had like P90X and Fitbit, there's no place to go with personal fitness at home. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But there isn't.
This one gives you gifts, gives you like Gwyneth Paltrow goop or something like that.
He said this is not goop. So
we find out she can't sleep. She's having a hard time like focusing. And that's trouble because she's about to launch this product. Greenwood, I think it's Greenwood. The siblings get together and they're like, I know what's happening. It's that lady from a long time ago. Episode 6, and you're just barely figuring out that your kids are getting knocked off. What the heck, man? I would have known after the second person got killed. But okay.
These aren't smart people. They're rich.
No. I think the granddaughter asked the guy, are we safe? Or maybe she's asking her dad. She asks someone, are we safe? Obviously not. You guys are dropping like flies.
Like way later on, are you okay? Yeah, we're fine. Don't worry. The other one's just tripped.
There was silly music in this episode. That was at the end. That's all I have. I don't remember.
Silly music.
Okay, but the funny part, yeah, the silly music during the death scene, I thought it was silly. But the funny part is that Juno lady, she's in the crowd watching the launch, and the daughter's like going nuts, and she's like seeing things and talking to them. But Juno's like responding to her like she's talking to her. I was cracking up at that.
Was very funny. And she gets hit in the face with a mic.
Yeah,
or whatever.
and then the poor lady gets hit. I was dying. That was hilarious. So this episode made me laugh, so that's why I thought it was my favorite episode. But what did you guys think of this episode? Jared, did you like it?
I honestly don't remember it much. I don't have strong feelings about this episode.
Didn't like the cool mirror kill. It was cool. I like the death. It was kind of cool.
It was, I don't know, it was goofy because you're like floating in the air and
I feel like
slow motion.
I feel like you should have like maybe just thrown the club instead of the jump. Just made it feel so intentionally dramatic. It's like that. I mean,
that's this whole series though. It's intentionally dramatic. Everything about this show is intentional. Is more drama. Like everything is more drama.
True.
I like this episode. It's not my favorite, like Joseph said, but I did enjoy this one.
We finally got our hero.
I have some trivia for Goldbug.
And we also found out that she just wants to be part of the family and she doesn't feel part of the family.
It's true.
So I have some trivia about Goldbug. Do you want to hear it?
I don't know what Goldbug is, so I'm going to get it wrong. Go ahead.
Goldbug is the original short story from Edgar Allan Poe.
So I get it wrong.
So apparently this was his most published published work in his lifetime. Also, he got paid and he actually got paid the most for it in 1843. He won an award for it and got paid $100 for the short story, and that's $5,000 in today's money for one short story. Nice. That's quite a bit.
I never even think about this one or that one.
It's kind of a prelude to a lot of like some old like adventure ones. It's kind of like King Solomon's Mines type stuff, because it's all about finding this treasure and like the obsession over it. And it's not my favorite, but it's kind of cool. It's a little racist now, but it's, from 1843. It's before the Civil War. So yeah, duh.
All right. Should we move on to episode 7?
I'll cover my thoughts.
Oh, no, you haven't talked. Yeah.
I definitely like this one a lot more. Just the fact of it having the kind of intrigue of her not being able to sleep, and you like have those time skips where she's like, what the heck just happened? She's like, she finished something, or she's grading that one paper, whatever, she's marking it up, whatever. Like, she's not grading, she's not a teacher. But and then she like starts flipping through the page after she wakes up, and it starts getting crazier and crazier. But I really like the point where her husband and her are fighting in the kitchen, and then she like blacks out, whatever, and she apologizes, and it's really sad. Everything comes up, and he's gone already. I was like, I feel like they did a good job sparsing that throughout this, and it was very interesting. And also, she was one of the main characters of Midnight Mass, and she's such a good actress. Like, and I feel like she did such a good job with this part as well, just being a crazy lady. But yeah, the only issue that I had was that, I mean, not that it's really an issue. Like, it looked cool, the actual death whenever she goes up and hits the ceiling. But Alex was like, "Why do you have mirrors everywhere?" I was like, "Alex, she likes to watch from everywhere." He was like, "Oh," she likes angles.
Sweet Alex.
That poor dude, by the way.
I know,
the husband.
I know.
Like, he seemed genuinely like in love with her, and
she's like, "I just own you," and he's like,
"Yeah." Like, I did like the like Joseph said, the final acceptance that something weird is happening. They're finally trying to dig into it, and so like the sister grabs her and turns to smoke during the conference, whatever. But yeah, I like
I didn't like that part. I thought that was a little too. I thought that was a little too much. Like, she should have been like, she should like disappeared behind somebody, and
the grab was a bit much. But
yeah, especially with like black smoke on her hand.
They're finally looking though.
Yeah, that's true.
So this episode was a bit much.
Bit much.
Bit much.
That was
this whole show was a bit much.
Oh, I liked when she was like talking to the
now
guard.
he remembers.
Like,
just kidding.
When she was like, "Who are you talking to?" and he was like, "I'm here alone."
Oh yeah,
dude, those poor security guards, man. I swear, like they get treated like crap.
And they're just called security. Like he's like, "Hey, security guard." It's not like,
"Hey, Kevin Costner, come here."
Okay, episode 7, the pit in the pendulum, which Jared forgot.
I totally forgot about that one, but I love it.
So this one deals with the oldest son, right? And he's doing not so nice stuff to his wife. He's on that cocaine, man, and
he's like Snyder from Three Ninjas, but on cocaine. He's getting that little ponytail. That's who he reminds me of. We
see a dead kid because Bruce Greenwood like hugs because he's talking to
him.
Whatever's controlling all this throws him a curveball because he's like, "Oh, I just see dead people and they come right at me." But this time he sees his little kid and he's like, "Oh, you're so cute." Picks him up. The kid just falls apart. It was pretty gruesome.
Just falling apart on him.
We get the flashback scene where Bruce Greenwood's character doesn't go with the plan with the DA's plan, and he's like, "Yeah, I didn't do anything wrong. There's no like." Are you raising?
Are you saying?
Yeah,
talk to the hand,
pushing something.
Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand, ghost. So, okay, this is a weird bit of dialogue when he's talking to. Is it Augie? Is that his name?
Yeah.
So when they're talking about why they're doing this for, like everybody, like who they're doing this for.
Okay, I think I had the same.
Did you
same
predict the same thing that came out of his mouth? He's like, "I do it for her," and he's like, "I do it for him." I'm like,
so no, okay. So I was gonna bring up the same thing.
That was the worst bit of time.
It was so stupid because
it was
like,
stupid.
Who isn't gay in or like bi, gay, something in this? But it was like in a framing of like, oh, he has a male lover. It's like.
Yeah, it was like
that's not surprising at this point. Or
yeah. Well, it was just it was like so focused on it. I'm just like, I know what he's gonna say. I know the exact line that he's gonna say, and it came out of his mouth. I was like, that was just a terrible bit of dialogue. Like, oh,
it was very pointed. It's like it's not out of the norm anymore. Like we're okay with it.
It stuck out so badly. I was just like. Oh man, that was terrible.
2005.
That's like, what was that? The old guard or whatever again. Is that your boyfriend? It's like, yes. Duh.
I didn't even remember anything from the old guard in the slightest.
Because I remember Jared getting pissed off at that, and it was hilarious.
I don't remember anything about that movie.
That movie was terrible.
That movie was
bad.
There was a stupid part. I don't know. I didn't like it. So the twin sister, she's like going to the house or what? She goes to the old neighborhood. Mm-hmm. She takes off her hair.
Oh yeah,
and it looks just like her.
But it's the same hair.
What the heck?
But I was right though. I was right about her wearing a wig. But the thing is, she's just wearing a wig on top of her hair.
Like, why? There was no explanation, no point.
I think it's silver, like it's gray.
Yeah.
But even then. Well, she looks fine without the wig. Like she looks worse with the wig, to be honest with you.
She just wanted bangs, but not permanently, Thomas.
Yes. Well, you're rich. Just get hair implants. You can afford those.
The heck? Greenwood calls his wife Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Oh. His young wife.
Yeah, his young wife. And
is this where we're... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
Is this where we get the backstory for Arthur?
Oh, that was fun.
Maybe
for Mark Hamill.
I can't remember if it was this one or the last one.
Yeah, I
don't remember.
I think it's this. I think it's the one he says we didn't hire like a lawyer, a hitman, or whatever. We hired.
Yeah, he sent Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I think it's this one.
I liked that backstory. That was pretty cool. Like,
so that comes from a story, Poe's story. His whole background is a novel.
It's just and it's delivered by Bruce Greenwood, who, like I said, just has that awesome speaking voice. And whenever he does exposition, I'm just like,
oh, is this when Arthur is talking to the Raven lady, or is that the next episode?
I think that is the next episode.
That's the next episode.
All right, I'll talk about that later.
And then we get the famous pendulum scene. Kind of like Michael said, the traps got a little more elaborate and a little more.
Jigsaw got a little more creative.
We did have a fake out though with that crane with the ball, because I thought the ball would hit him and kill him, but no.
Well, we knew he was going to get chopped in half because of the scene in the beginning with the kid. But yeah, so he's peeing in the.
Why did the Raven lady hate him the most?
I don't. That stuck out.
It seemed like she had a real vendetta against him.
Because he was the only one that really did something humanely
awful.
Yeah, because he was tearing out his wife's teeth and torturing her, and the weird pictures.
I know this sounds bad, but I get it. I get why he did it.
Why was he doing it again?
Because he knew that she was cheating on him. Well, sorry.
He thought that she was, because it was a long-term cheating thing because of the phone and everything. I think he misconstrued her one-time give in to temptation.
We never got to see that phone. Never knew what was on it.
Nope. I mean, I think it was just for texting.
Who cares? Yeah, it was just the invitation.
I thought she was going to have something to say that was important or something we didn't know, but nope.
That character angered me in the next episode, but we'll talk about that. Any thoughts on that pit in the pendulum scene?
Cool scene.
The final shot should have been because it shows it from his point of view of it breaking and coming down on him. It should have been it should have cut to a wide of just his silhouette and the thing going down. Would have looked way cooler.
Interesting.
Netflix, hire us.
You heard that, Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, you musician, you.
We have a better mic director in your face.
Okay, and this show is hard to remember anything. Episode 8 is called The Raven, and we get confirmation. Everyone's theories were right. She was the Raven. If you mix up her name, it turns into Raven. So this is all about the end game. We learned that they kind of made a deal.
Came and he was like,
we kind of made the siblings made a deal with kind of the devil, whatever she is. She's this ancient creature that can do deals. So we get a lot of that background of that story. And there's a part where he's like, it's time. But this episode would never end. It was Return of the King or something. The whole episode was just an ending, and it took forever. I hated it.
Can we talk out of order real fast?
Yeah.
How do we feel about them putting that dude behind a wall? His boss from
that's from the cask of, and I'm going to mess it up. Armin Tiladado, I believe is how you say it.
No. Just how do we in modern time, I know they were out for New Year's, but I think someone would figure out that he was behind a wall. You can tell when Rick is freshly
Well, they say one it's a 3-day weekend, and two they poisoned him, so he's just going to be dead.
They gave him cyanide.
Oh yeah, I forgot they gave him cyanide.
But
and they are building that building. I mean, there's some contractors that probably say, "Who the heck finished this wall?"
Phil came in overtime.
I know that's a terrible job. They were just
I did like how he was dressed.
Yeah,
in the clown.
Yeah,
that was cool because they showed that kind of earlier in the series where he was
gives him a nosebleed.
It just seems like it's too much work. Just you give him cyanide and you put him behind a wall.
Indeed,
it's a lot of work.
It was a lot of work.
Is there anything else you guys want to say before I get to the ending?
I have
My
stuff to
thoughts
say
are just
about
kind of
the
wrapped
ending.
up about the whole episode. So
Okay, yeah, okay. So real fast.
I was just gonna say that I like Arthur, how he didn't take the deal. He's just like, I'll just see it out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
his conversation with her, like you said, was very cool.
Yeah.
Well, just honestly, he was probably one of my favorite characters of the whole show. He's just a good character, and Mark Hamill did great at it. So he's kind of a spooky hitman dude.
Just needed a lozenge. That's all.
Just kind of wrap it up. If I can remember. So it's a lot about Bruce Greenwood. It's time to die. So he walks all over, talks to everyone, walks everywhere. The Raven lady kills the granddaughter, kind of just puts her to sleep, and she's dead. But first, she tells her like the fate of her mother, because again, these people are idiots. Because she's like, your bloodline will end. So they don't even. But for them, they don't even consider the granddaughter for some reason. It's like, oh, she's in your bloodline. But so she tells her kind of like the fate of the mother. And like the mother, I don't know why they did this. They made her like the hero. Like she did all this.
Yeah.
She gets well. She does all this charity work. She's the greatest. What the heck? She was at the thing to cheat. They should have made it about the actual hero, the wife, the new wife.
Well, they kind of did at the end. She did a lot of it, but
she should have done the charity work and opened the orphanages and stuff
it's
like
true.
that. That made no freaking sense.
We also didn't have any character development with the wife. It was just like like dancing and then
just there the whole time.
Yeah, it made no sense to me. I was mad. Then there was the other the old wife came back for a scene.
Yeah.
He saw her in the church.
True.
They kind of explained that he took custody of the kids from her after, I guess she left him. I was kind of phasing out, but he took custody.
She blew because he took the kids, and I think she killed herself because when she walked away from him in the church, there was a hole in the back of her head.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and they even go over like, how is he allowed to do this? He's like, he's rich. That's
And he even says he took her reason to live away.
I did kind of like the scene where they're talking to the Raven lady, and she's like talking about the deal with them, and she's like, "Well, you could live and then like die like normal, or you could live. You're still gonna die, but you can give your kids everything they want, and they won't have to worry about anything in life. They'll be rich." And yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. What else? Like Jared said, she talks to Arthur and offers him the deal, and he's like, "Nah, take my chances," which was cool. That was cool. But then there's a scene where like stuff's falling. No, that's a different scene. Okay, Arthur. There's a scene with Greenwood. Okay, we got to get into that part. The siblings. So Greenwood's talking to Augie, and he's constantly hearing this stuff, and he's like, "What's in the basement? What's going on down there?" And he kind of explains it because earlier on, the twin sister tried to kill the main character. She's like, "You got to get out of this deal. Maybe I'll live if you die." I never understood that because she said she's going to kill both of them.
Yeah,
but
I think it was like, since he dies by his hand, it's like a loophole, but she doesn't let them die by themselves.
Yeah, and then in this episode, they meet, and he actually like kills her. He poisons her, and then he gets his little Egyptian instruments and goes to work on her. And she comes out of she's like, "Raw, I'm dead," and
nevermore.
Like, yeah, freaking out. There's a scene, I can't remember where it was, but the scene where the actual house falls, like the fall of the House of the Usher. And it was funny because the Augie guy is like running, and he does like this slide like out the house. And I was like, "What the heck was that?" He's like Gumby or something. He's like, so that cracked me up. What happens at the end? They go up to the tower where his business is. There's all these CG bodies flying because that's symbolizes all the people he's killed with his company. The Raven lady's there. Does he die in that part? Where does he die?
That was before the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was before the end because that was before he went to the old house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, these endings, man, I can't keep them straight. So he finally dies. There's a graveyard scene where the Raven lady's there, and she places gifts on all their graves, kind of like in real life, or some mysterious person we could do for weird stuff. Actually, this would make a good episode. But some mysterious person always pits alcohol on Edgar Allan Poe's grave. So
weird.
That's an interesting story that really happened. And they never found out who it was. I don't think. I don't know if they still did.
We don't know what killed him to this day.
Yeah. And rightfully, that ends this series. So I'm going to let you guys talk about your final thoughts on this episode and the whole series if you want. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Everyone wants to go first.
Nope, Jared said it first. He said it first.
I thought the latter half of this season was a lot better than the first. There's a lot less annoying people, I guess, less extravagant rich people, and they're just more freaking out at the end because everyone's dropping like flies. Yeah, I guess overall, it just very much to me it was American Horror Story, but a little bit better. It wasn't as trashy. It wasn't as FX quality of show. Not really much. There wasn't really a character that I latched onto. Bruce Greenwood was just a cool voice, and Mark Hamill was just a cool voice and kind of a cool dude. I like the couple times that Bruce Greenwood's sister got put in her place, I guess, by the Raven lady, and then his old wife. It was like, you're just a small person, just kind of, I don't know. It was nice seeing her getting phased by someone's, what they had thought of her or said to her.
You know, it was cool seeing that one where Mark Hamill, like, he like walks into the house and like sedates the lady and wraps her up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Poops out of it.
And she walks onto it and just kind of crunches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really. It kind of bugged me. The same thing that bugged Joseph about the wife. I was like, she didn't really do anything, but I guess just use the name of the granddaughter. I think that was the main point of that, just to have her live on because she was the only good one out of them. But yeah,
was she though?
They're all terrible. They're all terrible people.
He's like, you are the best of us, but she's kind of annoying the whole time.
You guys get what I was saying last time, where like every time she's at her mother's like gooping bedside table, she's as happy as though it's Christmas. Like she's smiling and laughing. I'm like, your reaction is a little extreme here, friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I did notice that in that one episode. She blinked. Yay!
Mommy!
Am I going to be the next RGB? Do you want to watch something on Netflix?
And then the show got really sad when the dad yelled at her. But even then, it was just like, just shut up for once.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he hit her or anything. Just shut up.
I feel like that was a deserved like outburst, though.
Yeah.
Like, because everything he was saying was like true. He's like, just shut up. Just shut up.
Well, I mean, he wasn't like actually having technicians or specialists come to see her. So
true.
His daughter was justified in her confusion.
I don't know. They're just all bad people. Didn't care about them. I can't remember who's been talking about it, but he was saying that horror really needs people that you like, because there's the trope of like, oh, these are terrible people. It's fun to see them die, but it's more effective if you have people you like because you miss them or you get attached and there's actual loss there. Yeah. So this was like to the nth degree of just watching these people die, and it wasn't even that cathartic or enjoyable. I mean, the people soup was kind of nice, but I guess that's it. wasn't my favorite show. There's some fun parts, fun episodes, but yeah, as a whole, it was like, ugh. It's very much Netflix, our Netflix experiences.
Yeah, very cringy. Thomas, you want to go next?
I can go last if you want to, Michael.
Sure, whatever.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
In terms of the last episode, it was very back and forth of things I did like and things I didn't like. So I did like what they did. I did like the surprise of him not going with at the trial, him changing his mind. I was like, what the heck? Like that was a surprise. I was like, I expected him to go along with it. That's how he's going to take over the company, was the fact that he's going to tear down the people who were there and jump in. But then he was like, but that also flips on the coin of this side where Jared's talking about, which is exactly how I felt, is like that turned him and the sister, which sister was already kind of a B, but she was hot, so I was okay with it. But then, they both.
Michael definitely has a type. Yeah. I will say that.
Help. He does.
But then it turns them both, like, he was cool up to that point, and then it turned them both into bad people that I'm like, oh, I don't care about either of you anymore. What happens to you? Like, you can die. Whatever. Like, you're not interesting characters anymore because I'm not rooting for the resolution or them to or come out of this in a way.
It was weird because, like, even when they're talking, like, at the bar, like, just right after it happened, he's, like, way more eviler than he was right before that point.
Even, like, to the point of, like, cheating on his wife. She's like, go kiss that girl. Go kiss that girl. He's like, okay.
Yeah, so
like, you know how I am. I'm a man slut or whatever.
And that's what I don't get that part either. Was like, you just stuck your dingus and whatever was out there. I'm like, we didn't get any of that from the flashback. He seemed to be very devoted to this wife.
It was a very much a Daenerys Targaryen change, like flip of the coin. He yelled at his son, and then he was the devil.
Like, I'll never wear a condom.
Which that was a fair outburst because they're having this legal
that kid would stop
discussion. And the truck was like,
and he told him to stop like 3 times. You gotta
just throw it out the window.
Someone's gotta break that.
I feel like any normal father would be like, throw the truck or something.
Batteries out.
True.
Bye. But yeah, so that was like the give and take of like things I liked, things I didn't like, and then I did like them actually. I don't know why I always that's a horrifying thought to me of like being buried, especially like a construction thing. Like you hear about people who like get away with murders by pushing someone in wet concrete or something like that, then covering it up, whatever. Like that always horrifies me. Or so like them putting him in the bottom of that building construction, like, oh, it just gets to me.
Don't look up Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah.
I don't want to know about it. So I did like that part, even though they both turned into just super evil people. Going through the end of it with the reveals, I was disappointed. Like I said last time we talked, I was like, after episode 1, I was like, I bet they made a deal with her to have this life, and then it's gonna be taken away, and everyone, that's the payment to pay. So the fact that was actually what happened, that was pretty disappointing. I was like, man, it's so overdone and kind of boring to me. I did like Joseph said, her reasoning for it was a little more convincing, of them saying, hey, your kids will have shorter lives, but they'll never want for anything. They can experience everything they want in the time they have, rather than struggling their whole life. That was a very interesting take on it. The absolutely overdone political speech from the sister whenever she goes off on environmentalism and social justice and everything. I was like, we got it when you were talking about the pills in the beginning. Like, we got the whole emphasis of what you're going at, is where everyone's pointing you the bad guys and what you've done. But she went on for like, we've talked about the monologues too, but
she went on for like a good 5 minutes.
It was extensive. It's like, okay, you're being a little preach. Like, sure, if you want to have your points in there, you have your points in there. But it just felt very preaching out of the blue, of just like, horror. To say about that in a minute. Political talk. Like, okay, yes.
This show really made sure to get everything in there, like the political talk, the PC stuff, and just.
What's your point on it, Thomas?
Oh, so like my biggest pet peeve about this, and this is like with a lot of modern adaptions of like classic literature, is that you cannot get people who write like the original literature. Because you have Bruce Greenwood doing this amazing monologue of the Raven. Like, just it's such a good delivery. And it's like, I'm like, yeah, he should honestly read the poems for this, because he's so good. And then the next scene, you have her go through this modern political diatribe of like everything that's wrong with, the the ruling class. Yeah. I'm just like, this obviously did not have the same.
If
writer.
I wanted to hear this, I'd just go to Twitter or Instagram. Everyone talks about it all the time. It's like,
and that's what kind of makes me. That's what kind of makes me annoyed is that they have a point to include a lot of Poe's literature in this, but it's just kind of like sprinkled here and there. It's like, oh well, this character is being very poetic. I'm like, why? Like the rest of the time, they're not. Like, it's just it pissed me off so much because you had like this amazing performance of this dialogue. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, who are the real enemies here? I'm like, all right, Joker, put it back in the back, or like, just go away. So
that was cool. Like the whole time he's getting texts Nevermore. I did like that. That was
yeah.
I like that. That
was a good like
payoff to the AI
translation between the old and the new stuff.
Yeah. But that's the thing is that worked really well because it worked within like the literature and it made sense.
That was his first idea and that
yeah,
that's how they made the show.
I think that's exactly it. Yeah. But it stuck out like a sore thumb so hard. It's like when the Batman movie, the Robert Pattinson one, where it's like, who the real evil people are? These rich white men. I'm like, we never brought that up. And we don't bring it up again.
Batman.
Yeah. Well, it was there and it left. I'm like, why was that here?
I forgot about that. Goodness.
Yeah. Well, it sticks out so hard because it's never addressed again. You're just like, okay, cool.
It's just easy pickings.
It was just lazy writing, and I'm like,
so that was a downer for me. And then the whole like her being in the downstairs and the whole like her coming up and going blah, which we were trying to figure out what sort of connection there was with the mom because they were like, oh, the mom didn't die and then she didn't die.
I still don't know.
It's like, did the mom make a deal with the Raven where she couldn't die unless something happened? I don't know. It was a little confusing. So I thought that was a pretty lame reveal of what we expected the whole time, and then the whole jewels in the eyes was silly. So
it looked like if you went to a haunted house.
Yeah, it was real goofy looking. And so,
Celia,
you get out of here,
you scamp.
And then I feel like the whole like it closing on that house of the place her mom died or whatever, killed that guy at. Like, it felt like they felt like they're telling you there's some sort of meaning behind it. But I'm like, who really cares? Because it's like the house came crumbling down and it felt like, oh, this big moment. Blah, blah. I was like, I don't care about that place at all. Like, we haven't seen it since the first episode, apart from the little flashbacks of where they're talking. So I feel like this whole going to the whole series now is just like nothing. There were no through lines really. It was just rinse and repeat the structure they had for each episode of how they all died. There was no unique takes, except, I mean, like we said later on, like I agree with Jared, the second half I did like more with each of the deaths because you had the difficulty sleeping where she's losing memory. You had the brother who was, going crazy about the affair in quotes, and he starts doing things, but everyone else was just kind of like they're living their lives and then died. And so they weren't really interesting. And so that kind of set those apart, but still it felt like kind of just rinse and repeat until we got to the end and the story they actually wanted to tell. Like, it just felt so disconnected from beginning to end. And like the horror, that's what's disappointing about this. Like, this is easily my least favorite show of his, no question. And I feel like the past two shows have had so little horror in them. And when they are, it's just these like simple tropes. Even the Bruce guy almost made a joke about it in the end. He's like, oh, this is what's going to happen. Like, you're going to sit there. I'm going to see something you're not going to see, and it's going to scare me or something like that. It's like, yeah, we know you're making fun of your own show right now because that's all that's happened. That's the only horror we've had. It's like jump scares this whole time. There's no tension. There's no build up. Like, God, it makes me so mad that Alex hasn't seen Haunting of Hill House because I'm like, that it just builds tension. It just keeps this questions throughout the entire series. I'm like, where is that kind of through horror through the whole thing, like rather than just jump scares and gross stuff? I'm like, I want something a little better.
And now he never will because he'll be disgusted.
Your one chance.
I know. Should have gone with that one this year, but yeah. So I think the show is just basically okay. Good performances, really well shot in my opinion, but just substance wasn't there for me.
I have a quick question. You know how like studios and all are like, oh, put the political talk or the PC thing in there. That'll get people. Is there people that see that and they're just like, yes, yes?
No, there's not. No one
there's
likes
not.
that
There is.
stuff.
I know people like that. Yeah.
There really. There's someone.
Do we really
that's
have
like,
to bring up?
I'm
Do we
glad
have
that's
to
in
bring
there.
up Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs right now? Because
I don't know anything about
Did you-
that. I've just seen a picture of it. I don't know.
It's
what's going on.
bad.
Did you hear?
It's bad.
What about this? Did you hear for the Bambi live action remake or whatever? They're not going to have the scene with the mom dying because they say it will trigger people.
that's the whole point.
That's kind of the
Our
biggest
trigger
scene
was
of the
pulled
whole
and she's dead.
Trigger people as in how?
Then they'll get too sad.
Mom died.
It's too
I
sad.
swear,
for
like
them.
these kids
I
would
don't know
not
if it was
last
like a
80s and 90s
thing, or if it
Disney.
was
like, oh my god.
Oh man.
Like,
Okay,
I'm sorry. Are kids allowed to watch Land Before Time now? Like,
Thomas, you still haven't gone, right?
no, not yet. I just saw that one diatribe. Okay, so this is the first series by Mr. Mike Flanagan, the musician.
Shut up.
I will never live that down. That's the best thing. I enjoyed this mostly because of the campiness of it and just like the bombastic is like the wrong word. Just the over dramatic of it all. Like I think Jared put it the best.
Melodramatic.
Yeah, it's melodramatic. Well, Jared put it there. He's like, I'm not really here to be scared. I'm just kind of like here to enjoy this. And once like that kind of clicked in my brain, I enjoyed this way more. Like I didn't have any expectations of this, and that was probably a good thing. So I'm really happy that I just watched it. And like as I said, like as a fan of Poe's stuff, it was kind of fun just to pick out because there was a ton of it, which was nice to see. Even the ending, Michael, where she like comes out and going, oh, that's the ending of the House of Usher, and the house just does that. So they even kept to that, which doesn't really make any sense in this story, but they kind of just included it. It makes me sad is that they have these really good renditions of his work, especially the poems, inside this series, but the poetry really sticks out really hard, like inside this series, and it's the stuff that doesn't really fit all that much, and so it kind of annoys me on that end. It's just like, okay, you kind of just wasted this really good writing here, just oh yeah, we're edgy, we include Edgar Allan Poe in our work, and it's just, I don't know. It was very frustrating, but I did enjoy it overall. I think I am going to do what you said, and I'm going to watch these series in reverse order. I think they'll be more fun that way.
Might be more scary because you're like lulled into this like nonsense.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm like, that's actually kind of a cool way to do this. So, what was the next one, Michael?
It's the Midnight Club.
Midnight Club.
Midnight Club, not Mass, right?
Nope. Club.
It sounds like when I hear that title, I always think of like Need for Speed.
Yeah.
It's like, is that a Need for Speed?
Wasn't there a game called Midnight Club?
I think there was a Need for Speed game called Midnight Club.
I think so, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, I'll try that one next. So,
that one has really good characters. The wife that Joseph says is the hero, and this one is one of the main characters. She does a really good job. Really good job.
From what you're telling me, the quality gets better the further you go back. So,
except for Blind Manor is a bit of a dip between Haunting of Hill House and Midnight Mass.
Okay. Well, I'm
good.
I'm kind of excited to do this, see if it works. I don't know. Kind of interesting way to do it. But I mean, I like this series. It was fun. I was more laughing than anything else. So
apparently Joseph was too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got hit right in the head. It was hilarious.
The music choices in this was kind of interesting. Like the score and some of the music they actually had. Yeah. Well, one that stuck out to me was when they were making the deal with Raven Lady. Is that what we're going?
What was it?
It's the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which I love that song, but it's kind of a creepy song. It's about a shipwreck where they lost all hands, and well, one of the lines is the lake that is said never gives up her dead, and I'm like, that's kind of a cool like line. And so, but that's like this, she doesn't give up her prey, like, so
Well, it was a car racing series called Midnight Club.
Oh,
not Need for Speed.
Should I play?
It's not Need for Speed.
Should I play that while I watch this?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
That would be weird.
Okay.
That's a whole streaming channel we can do right there.
Everything associated with this name, you must do at the same time.
We do that.
It's got to be a band, right?
Okay, Thomas is wrong because I'm going to get the last word.
Oh.
So this series, one thing real fast, the twin sister, it was bugging me because I knew I didn't like her from something, but I didn't know what it was. Battlestar Galactica. Yeah, I hate that character.
Rosalind is a pretty bad president. I'm not gonna lie.
She was terrible. This series, so you guys know I don't like it. Anyone can tell.
No,
but I do respect that someone really seemed to like Poe and wanted to make a series about Poe. Wanted to modernize it, I guess. But they got the worst writers. I was surprised because Michael really loved his earlier stuff. And I've heard really good stuff about Midnight Mass. A lot of people love that series. So I was expecting a lot more from this series. Nothing worked for me. Like I said, it seems like Severance, like someone saw Severance and they're like, oh, let's make a horror story out of this. Everyone hates those characters. Let's actually kill them off. And, maybe people will love this. To me, Poe is all about atmosphere, and his stories are creepy more than they're not bloody, they're not gory, they're creepy. They should be creepy. And this series didn't have any of that creepiness, almost anything. There was some stuff like when he's in the house and there's people walking behind him. That's pretty creepy. But I would have liked it if they were going to modernize it, just play up on the creepiness and stuff. Like that Raven thing, that was way too late to use that because it was almost the end of the show. And we're like, oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah. This should have been a movie. It should have been movie length. There was just way too many episodes, I think. Make this a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
I think
long.
2 hour, 3 hour even. Just make it a long movie and throw on all this Poe stuff. Not much to say other than that. I don't, like Jared said, this seemed very Netflix. It's like checking the boxes, man. We got to have all the stuff everyone hates, we got to throw it into the series.
Although this is not the worst thing we've watched from Netflix. I'm just saying.
Not at all.
No,
of course not.
I'm sure we'll see even more. Any last words on this? I think we're going to put it to bed.
Nevermore.
Okay.
Indeed.
So that's going to do it for That's Good Stuff this time. Like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.